The H2O Show
on BBC Radio Solent.
Good afternoon, I'm Shelley Jory-Leigh, and this week the programme is being recorded in the yachting mecca that is Lymington. Well, I am sat in probably, it has to be one of the best offices I've ever had on the H2O Show. She is called Bjoar. She is a classic yacht, and the teak work here, well, the whole yacht looks better than my dining room table, I have to say. But also on the show this week, we're going to look ahead to next weekend's Weymouth Keelboat Regatta and the Lymington Regatta. We find out about an apprenticeship scheme here in Lymington. There's news of a new ferry service from here to Yarmouth. I take a shower. I'm glad you weren't here with me, Robin. And we can't come to Lymington without pinning down Bob Fisher for a good old chat. Well, I'm here in Lymington Yacht Haven on what was a sunny afternoon, but now it's got a little bit cloudy. But I'm not bothered because I am sat on the most beautiful classic yacht. I hope I'm going to say it right. She's called Bjoar. My host for this afternoon is Rupert Wagstaff. Good afternoon, Rupert.
Hi there. Hi.
Explain to me what your role is here at the Lymington Yacht Haven.
I'm a director of Lymington Yacht Haven, and I'm responsible for the day-to-day management of the site. We're a 600 berth marina. We've been here since the 70s. We were one of the first marinas in the UK, not the first. And the marina was built by the Carless family, who are still the owners today.
So it's got a massive history here, hasn't it?
It's been here a long time, and when the marina was first built, it was almost a novelty just to be able to step off a boat onto a pontoon. Things have progressed a bit, and our customers are looking for a bit more service now. But yeah, and Lymington is a great spot for a marina. Western Solent is perfect.
Tell me what your day goes like.
We're busy here. We're busy, so we don't have any specific visitor berths. We only put visitors on our annual berth holders' berths when they go out. So this time of year it's a constant juggle for the guys to try and get as many visitors in as they can. And our customers are looking for a bit more than summer just to park their boats. They're looking for a nice restaurant, great facilities, really helpful staff, and we try and provide it all.
So, I mean, it's quite unusual to have two marinas in, or two harbours, as it were, in one small town. Is that unusual?
Well, there's three really in Lymington. There's Lymington Yacht Haven, Berthon and Lymington Harbour Commissioners, who have got 500 berths on the river as well. So is there a lot of competition between you? No, all great friends. He says with a smile on his face and a grimace. I love it. Tell me the sort of range. Is it very motorboaty? Is it very sailing? Tell me about the characters. We have a mix of everything here, from 20-foot dinghies all the way through to 70-foot yachts. The market seems to be going more towards the bigger boats, sort of 50-foot motorboats and sailing boats. But Lymington has got quite a good variety of different sorts of boats. Ribs are very popular here because of all the local places to go in a rib. And we're looking to get more lovely classic boats like this into the marina. Well, a little earlier on, Rupert, you alluded to the Lymington Classic Regatta, but we've also got another guest here with me. In fact, we're sat on your boat. It's Andrew Pearson from the British Classic Yacht Club. Andrew, did I say the name of the boat right?
You did. Very practiced. You must teach the rest of the British Classic Yacht Club how to pronounce it.
Okay, Yacht Bjoar.
Very good.
Yeah, I love it.
Welcome aboard.
Just tell us a little bit about it, because I can't begin to explain the beauty of what we're sat on.
Well, it's a 52-foot boat that was built to the rule called the International Rule, which came into being in the early 1900s. And there was 85 of these built through from 1904 to 1936, and this is one of the last ones. And this is built in 1936, looking very much like a dragon, and built and designed by Johan Anker, who designed the Dragon back in the 1920s.
Well, let's move on to the Lymington Classic Regatta. First of all, will she be racing in it?
She will.
Tell me all about the regatta.
So the regatta really is recreating something that happened back in the 1920s, when the first yacht squadron members came down and raced in Lymington and formed what is now the Royal Lymington Yacht Club. and they, back in the 20s, had their first annual regatta of local boats, mainly much smaller boats. But there were 5 yacht squadron members right way back then who were instrumental in actually setting up what was the Lymington Club, and then got a royal chart way back in the 30s. So this is a joint regatta organised between the Yacht Haven here and the Royal Lymington Yacht Club.
It says it's open to all classes, all classics, and gaffer classes. So what is the age limit that, if a boat is too young to enter, what's the age limit?
It's really a design concept. So on the British Classic Yacht Club website, which you can cruise through, you'll see it's around design concepts of original boats. So there isn't a absolutely fixed concept, but it rules out modern boats which are made of glass fibre materials. But there are boats like Darings, which is a 5.5 metre design boat, which is in the 1960s. But we have yachts that were racing for Royal Ocean Racing Club events like the Fastnet in the 50s, 60s and 70s. So there's a wide range of boats, but it does exclude modern GRP boats. But we do include modern replicas, and these are called spirits of tradition. And in fact, the J-class boats that you all know, they are, for all intents and purposes, a modern boat. They now have massive rigs and a lot of engineering and sail designs and concepts. So there's very little original left on most of the J's, the 4 that are here this week. This boat, just N23 in the Norwegian Register, actually is absolutely every plank as it was built in 1936. The only differences are that it has an engine and the galley's been moved. So there are very few really original ones, but there is a big reversion back to owners looking to renovate and recreate the old classics. And I think that's spurred on by the really high-tech Ben Ainsley great achievements of modern design. But you completely change the old J's when you make them into a new masthead rigged fast racing boat.
Yes.
And that's what we are not doing with this.
Now, bearing in mind you're talking to a powerboat racer and not a sailor here, on the classic boats, do they actually have like the electric winches and things like that? I mean, I'm looking around your boat, I don't see anything electrical at all. So is it allowed to be? Can they come in with those sort of thing, or does it have to be absolutely no manhandle power?
Well, you can probably guess that there are many different versions of an answer to that. The Scandinavians have a system for rating. We have a system which is basically classic boat racing using IRC rules. Here we are allowed to have an electric winch, but we bury it so you can't see it.
Oh, you're cheating!
Here is a Barlow winch, but underneath there's an electric drive for the main sheet.
Oh, that is not fair.
But
you fooled me.
In principle, we would like to get back to the Mediterranean system, which is called SIM, whereby you've got original and no self-tailors and Dacron sails. Here we have a mixture, but the Lymington Classic Regatta is being very open-minded. It's going to race with IRC rating this time round. There is a new rating system, greening ground, based on RYA, based on the original design of boats, keeping it not high tech, and that's what we're moving this regatta, perhaps in 2016, back towards. And there's a great debate about whether British Classic Yacht Club in the future should just be using IRC, or whether we have a broader based help to maintain the originality of the boats as they were designed. We're not keen on having people rebuild their boats just so they can go faster and beat the opposition. But there are some great boats.
Checkbook racing in powerboat racing. No checkbook racing here, please.
In England, we call it the IRC arms race, whereby people add 2 metres to their mast so they can go a bit faster. But they do get a higher rating for that.
The date is the 12th and 13th of September for this fantastic event. Where can people go to find out if they want to enter, if they've heard about you and they've got, I've got a classic yacht, I want to come and race?
All the details are on the website for the Classic Regatta. You could just go on there, get your booking and come into the Yacht Haven, and that will go through to the Royal Lymington Yacht Club, and you'll get your acknowledgement and you'll be entered in there. Fantastic value, £50 for a 2-day weekend, 3-day weekend.
Wow.
So we're trying to go slightly down the French route, where we've got great sponsors, the Yacht Haven. The berthing is free, with major input from the harbour commissioners as well as Yacht Haven. Got full depths for 3 metres in here. This boat draws 2.5, which is deeper than the river at low tide. So great opposition and really good prizes, with sponsorship through Doyle's, who are providing really good facilities to build you a set of sails. There are 2 boats racing this year that have got, including us, Doyle sails there as a result of winning in last year's Classic Regatta, and that will be repeated in this year.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It sounds lovely, and it's going to be a real spectacle to see. Just if everything looks like what we're sat on here on Bjoar, then it's going to be amazing. And there's a link to the regatta website on our programme page for today. Go to bbc.co.uk/Solent. Andrew Pearson, thank you so much. Can we come back to you later and hear more about Bjoar and the British Classic Yacht Club?
Of course. H2O on BBC Radio Solent.
I'm Shelley Jory-Leigh on board Bjoar in Lymington Yacht Haven, but more from here shortly. But first, let's look ahead to next weekend, because one of the key events in the Southwest calendar takes place. It's Weymouth Keelboat Regatta. Kathy Clayton is the Commodore of Weymouth Sailing Club.
We've got yachts from along the south coast, and obviously particularly the Weymouth Bay, its own area. It's run by the Yacht Clubs of Weymouth, which is a combination of all our clubs here, both Royal Dorset, Weymouth Sailing Club, Castle Cove Sailing Club and Renser. And so it's a great time to get out in the bay.
Would it be fair to say this is almost like a sister regatta to the dinghy regatta, which was a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, indeed. They were combined at one stage, and it was decided that both the club's organisation and the number of boats we were getting, that we needed to split the two. It also means that, for instance, quite a few of the dinghy sailors can come out crewing on the yachts, and the yacht crews can help with the organisation on the dinghies. So it works well.
So in terms of organising them, this must be quite a big task to put these events on.
Yes, our guy in charge of organising this year is Adrian Crook, who's the Commodore of the Royal Dorset, but is ably assisted by people from all of the clubs.
And you all work together really well, because it seems, the times I've been here to both Castle Cove and the Royal Dorset and to here, you all have nothing but good things to say about each other.
Yeah, I mean, we all combine. We often have open races that we join in each other races. A few weeks ago, we had a one-day regatta run by the Royal Dorset, but, entries from all the clubs, so we get more regattas that way.
Tell us about some of the entries that you've got here. Where do they come from?
Yeah, I would say mainly it is from those 4 clubs in the area, and we are trying very hard to go further afield. But the problem is there are a lot of regattas along the south coast, so it's getting our slot in between everything going on, say, in Cornwall and Devon and up in the Solent. We've got a group coming over, which is called Pyra, from Poole. A group of yachts there are going to come over for one of the days of the regatta. They can't do the full 3 days. And so we're trying to encourage more from the Poole area, really.
And it gets pretty competitive, I guess.
Oh, yes. We put sailors out on the water and it suddenly gets very competitive. And there'll be a very big spread of boats, because we've got yachts here. The local squib class will be racing in their own class. Everybody else will be on a handicap. And this year we've done a big push to get all our boats, or nearly all of them, under the IRC handicap, for those that know what that is, which is more detailed and worked out, and hopefully a fairer system. So we're hoping to really, this will be the first year where we've had so many of the local boats have been IRC, and should be really tight competition.
Are you competing?
Yes, Arksign will be out there, yes.
Oh, no, I remember Arksign from, in fact, it was just 3 years ago.
Yes, we enjoyed having you on board to go and watch the Olympic racing, which was fantastic. Yes, it's left us with a legacy here. And people now know Weymouth, and we just hope more people will come and enjoy the bay, really, and do some great sailing. On the Friday we'll have slightly longer race, but otherwise it's right in the bay, so very easy to watch from the beach.
This area forever will now be known as the Olympic Waters. 3 years on, have you seen a positive legacy?
Yes, in that when you talk to people, people know about it, and we've had a lot of new members we had building up to the Olympics, and we lost some of those. And now we're beginning to get people back, and they come down and have a look what it's like because they've heard about it, Weymouth and Portland. So I think it's had an effect in that way. And obviously the academy over in Weymouth and Portland, in the Portland Harbour, is getting development back. Again, I think there was a bit of a drop down after the Olympics, but they had the ISEF event early in June and got a really good turnout. I was trying to sail my boat across the bay and there was no space on the water to sail. It was great to see so many of the Olympic classes fully represented again.
And Weymouth Sailing Club, where we're at the moment, you're still very, pardon the pun, buoyant?
Yes, indeed, yes. All our moorings are taken. We've got lots of events going on. We've had various sailing events. 2 weeks ago, we had a race and rally of boats over to Cherbourg, and I think it was over 20 boats in the end, and that was a great event. And so we're trying to stretch people to sail further as well.
And the yobs are still yobbing?
Yes, indeed. I had my bed out the water here on Friday evening, which is when the yobs came out, and they had a fantastic time. It was quite breezy out, so they stayed within the harbour, and there were little ones rowing dinghies and the rest sailing dinghies and having great fun. Really good turnout, so that's still going strong, yeah.
Kathy Clayton from Weymouth Sailing Club talking to Neil Sackley. The Keelboat Regatta is next weekend and there's a link to it on our webpage for today. That's bbc.co.uk/Solent. After the regatta, Kathy will be getting her boat and crew ready for the Fastnet race, which starts from Cowes on the 16th of August. And of course, we'll have a special H2O from Cowes that day.
H2O on BBC Radio Solent.
I'm Shelley Jory-Leigh, and this week we're recording the show in Lymington Yacht Haven. I am sat on a beautiful classic yacht called Bjoar. I have some great guests with me, Andrew Pearson, who owns this lovely lady, and Rupert Wagstaff, who's the managing director of Lymington Yacht Haven. Andrew, tell me a little bit more about this beautiful classic yacht we're sat on here, Bjoar.
Well, this was a Johan Anker design, and this is boat number 417.
Oh yes, look.
From his yard, and as I've said, it was one of the late of 85 10-metre boats built. There are 8 left sailing in the world. This is the only one in England. This was built in Norway, in Oslo Fjord. And she has been immaculately maintained by just 3 owners who've had her for more than 20 years each. And I saw her for sale in a magazine called Classic Boat when I was racing here in the Lymington River in a scow. And I happened to be lecturing the next day in Oslo. And
how convenient.
Well, how convenient. But it was absolutely correct that I was at a meeting for an American host on work in the former Soviet Union in Tbilisi. So I had a number of people who I was meeting there from around the world, including 3 sailors. So as soon as they saw that I was interested in a 10-metre boat, we jumped in a taxi on landing in Oslo, went out and saw it, and made him an offer.
That was it, love at first sight. And so how long have you had her?
We've had it since 2012.
Oh, so not long.
No.
She's quite a new baby to you.
And we've taken it each year to the British Classic Yacht Club, where it won a general vote as being one of the most interesting and old designs kept in its original state in its first year. And we got a 3rd in round the island in both the 1st and 3rd years when we did that race for the British Classic Yacht Club. And as you know, BCYC as we call it, is an amazing group of boats who belong, not the owners. So the boats join the club, and they have an annual regatta sponsored by Panerai. So it's called the Panerai British Classic Yacht Club.
I was going to say, that's what the BCYC stands for.
That's what BCYC, Panerai, Cowes Classic Regatta. Mm-hmm. And that starts this Sunday. So we meet, and this time over 40 boats will be there. And we have 5 days of racing, including a round the island race in the way it was done like in 1851 with the Yacht America. And there were 4 actually of the 15 boats that challenged America back then in 1851 were built actually in Lymington.
So apart from the Lymington sort of the classic regatta she's about to go into, you say that you've raced her in other, like the Cows Classic weekend things. Do you use her just for pure pleasure, just going out for a Sunday sail?
We love to sail the family, and we will actually cruise around the Solent and down and out into the Channel. This year we were going down to Dartmouth and across to the Channel Regatta in Pumple, but unfortunately the squadron invited us and we can't do 3 regattas at the same time. So we go from the British Classic Yacht Club to the Bicentenary Regatta at Cowes via a 2-day fun event at the Royal Solent Club across in Yarmouth. So we do as many of the local classic things as possible. We do the occasional special race from Royal Lymington or one of the other Solent clubs, and we love just sailing into Bewley River or down to Poole.
Yeah,
or
across. She clearly must turn heads everywhere she goes. You must have that very proud feeling.
A lot of questions. People want to know what she is because they've never seen a 10 metre in England, and they want to know how anyone has managed to maintain it to this degree of finish, and that's because we have a brilliant local finisher from Christchurch who's looked after our boats and has a very detailed knowledge of the materials. This was made out of Honduras mahogany, and no one is allowed to scrape or rub or touch the decks with anything. The special shoes or bare feet are worn on it, and to get the finish that you see today, he takes a blade to that teak and just takes a fraction of a millimetre of the teak off it each time, but it's never scrubbed, and his handling of the varnish work is absolutely very special, because the mahogany itself has a natural colour, but to maintain this uniformity of colour means that the varnish has to, in each segment of it, as it's bleached in the sun, have a dye added to it for each part of the varnish. So each horizontal surface is touched every month and each vertical surface twice a year.
Whew. She gets more attention than I do. Well, Andrew, and she, she's stunning. When we walk down the pontoon towards her, and of course she has prime position here at Lymington Yacht Haven.
Well, the Yacht Haven built this especially for us.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this spot is yours, prime spot. She's
it has
beautiful.
to be 3 metres deep because the boat draws 2.5 metres.
Wow.
So we had to be able to get out here under all weather conditions, and it was put in here and with a major improvement to the berthing for access to the fuel berth, but to also have a 3 metre slot right into the corner here.
Yeah.
And it's very sheltered. Reversing these old straight-keeled boats is quite difficult. So this one is manhandled out around the dock.
Oh, I bet, and I bet everyone is touching her with kid gloves. She is beautiful. Thank you so much, and thank you for letting us come on here this afternoon and record the H2O show. Thank you.
Come back and meet us in Cowes, in the Cowes Yacht Haven for either the Bicentenary or Panerai. You're welcome on board.
Thank you. And if you want to know more about this beautiful classic yacht Bjoar that I am just loving to be sitting on here, there's a link on our website. Go and have a look at it.
The H2O Show
on BBC Radio Solent.
I'm Shelley Jory-Leigh, and this week we're recording the show in Lymington Yacht Haven. I am sat on a beautiful classic yacht called Bjoar. I have some great guests with me, Andrew Pearson, who owns this lovely lady, and Rupert Wagstaff, who's the managing director of Lymington Yacht Haven. We are sat here, it's a lovely sunny afternoon, we've got a light wind. I am surrounded by, well, what can I say, super yachts. I'm going to call them super yachts and motorboats. It's lovely. There's such an array of boats here. I can see lots of ribs, I can see yachts, I can see motorboats. I love Lymington Yacht Haven because there's such a variety of people who use it. It's not just all sailing or all motorboats. There is a real variety here. And this is home of one of the world's best known sailing experts. His knowledge and passion of the America's Cup is second to none. He's been a great friend to the programme over the years, so we thought we would have to pay a visit to Bob Fisher. Neil Sackley caught up with him earlier in the week.
Bob, it's lovely to see you in your home surroundings rather than dragging you into a studio or getting you on the phone from the other side of the world.
Well, yes, it's a change, isn't it? But it can be done, and I'm happier that way too. Very much happier.
sailing very much part of your life, but for how long? I mean, has it been a lifelong love and passion?
Yes, it has been a lifelong passion. My father took me racing with him on August Bank Holiday when I was 2 years and 4 months old. And as a result of that, when we won, I've got a scoreline that I can start back there. And I've always been interested. Yeah, Dad interested me into it. And I lived and was brought up in a little village on the east coast, Brightlingsea, where everybody who was anything around the waterside helped. And I learned about sailing and about the big events from the fishermen who were the yacht hands of previous eras. They went fishing in the winter and they were yacht hands in the summer. And I learned from them, listening to their talking and telling me the stories in the fishermen's shelter on the Hard at Brightlingsea. They were very open with what they thought, and many of them had been to earlier America's Cups.
We all know that Lymington, Cowes, Weymouth now sort of meccas for sailing. But how big is sailing on the East Coast or around the Essex coast?
It's pretty big still. I just asked my daughter the same question, and she's Commodore of Brightlingsea Sailing Club and tells me all this thing. And I'm actually going to go back up there at the beginning of August and see it again, because Pyfleet Week is their big week on the 1st of August and normally clashes with Cowes Week. Well, this year it doesn't, so I've got an opportunity to go to that too. And that'll be going back a bit and looking at the old history. So, I mean, my dinghy sailing days were up there, and, they were exciting. And, of course, early catamaran sailing up there, because Reg White's yard was next door virtually to my house. And we built and sailed catamarans together.
Do you remember your first boat?
My first boat, yes, I do. The first boat that I owned was a 12'6" hard chine dinghy called a Truant. It was an American design which somebody had found in Practical Mechanics or something like that, locally, and built 5 of them. And I bought one of them sailed and raced it and had a great time in it. But then, the others fell away and I had to look for something else. And I used to sail with an old school friend of mine, Tony James, in a National 12. And then there was this urge to get into the Hornet class. Well, you can understand a young man with a boat with a sliding seat. That was really attractive. And so, I got deeply into that. And then the Fireballs came along and I got into them as well and built my own boats and did all that sort of thing. And I got involved with Reg with catamarans and the C-Class cats and the Little America's Cup, as it was then known and should still be known because of the description that was given to me by John Fisk, who was the leader of the catamaran movement at that time, who said that they were he'd challenge the Americans to a series of races, a series of best of 7 races around a 24.3 mile course with a triangle, a beat and a run and a beat and a run, and just like he said, a little America's Cup. So that's where it came from. And then, of course, the copywriters came in and did away with the Little America's Cup for us, but we know what the Little Cup is.
We'll come on to have a chat about next weekend's events shortly, but as part of your career, you were quite heavily involved with the TV production that was Howard's Way 30 years ago now.
Was it that long ago? Yeah, it does seem. It's a very long time ago. I remember it. I got involved because Jerry Glaister's wife used to work with me. Jerry Glaister was the producer, and his wife used to work with me when I was in presentation in television. And she said, if you're doing a thing about that, you've got to talk to Bob. Well, that was very kind of her to say that. Anyway, I went up to see Jerry and we discussed what the programme was going to be about. And he told me that he'd got this idea of a designer designing a boat that, did this and that. And he wanted a boat that hadn't been seen by anybody. This was a new boat. And I said, it's going to be a bit difficult to find something like that at the moment, but we found a Laser 28, which I was given at the time to test. And so the Flying Fish was the first boat in the series. And I became the technical consultant to the programme, and we had a great time. And then I went to another meeting, and I was told by Jerry, well, now our lead character is going to design a boat that's different from anything that exists, and it's going to provide greater cruising facility and greater things. And he looked at me and he said, well, what can you do about that? I said, if I knew what to do about that, you don't think I'd be sitting here, Jerry, do you? I'd be out there doing it. And it was just wonderful how it all came together. And the boat was quick. Yeah, very quick indeed. We loved it.
Can you imagine if that TV producer said, do you know what? Let's have them design something that actually sits out of the water, and we'll call it foiling.
Yeah, I can imagine now, but I can't imagine then. That was something we didn't do.
And, of course, that's the big buzz around the America's Cup. Now, you were in San Francisco. Now the America's Cup World Series, we're just a matter of days away from it here. Do you think the people of Portsmouth have any idea what's about to hit their shores?
I don't really think they have, although some of them must have been looking out from Southsea Beach. I was on the water out there with them when they held 2 races for 4 boats. And wow, that was a bit eye-opening, I can tell you. And Ben won both of them. So let's get that in. But it was very interesting to watch. These smaller boats coming up on foot are just as quick as the 72-footers, believe you me, every bit as quick as them. I've been hearing the speeds they've been reaching, and there's no holding back. Yeah, I think they'll be exciting. It certainly will grip a lot of the people who are going to go on that Portsmouth seafront, and the South Sea seafront, and see all that, because it really is exciting.
How excited are you about it?
Oh, absolutely excited. I mean, I can't miss a second of it. I won't, I'll be there from 8:30 every morning until everything closes up at night, and then I'll come back home here and then have to go up and down that motorway again. But yeah, I wouldn't miss a second of it.
H2O on BBC Radio Solent.
And there's a link to Bob's website on our programme page for today. Go to bbc.co.uk/Solent. This week we're in Lymington for H2O. It's a town that boasts 2 marinas. The Berthon Marina was opened by Earl Mountbatten of Burma in May 1968 and is one of the UK's oldest. But as yard manager Keith Longman told me, boat building has been happening on this site much longer than that.
There's been shipbuilding here since the days of the Domesday Book. In the 13th century we provided 9 ships for the defence of the realm, and that history's gone all the way down through the centuries. The original yachts that raced America around the Isle of Wight for the precursor to the America's Cup were built at this shipyard, and there's been boat building, shipbuilding on this site ever since.
There's a very different feel here from the Lymington Yacht Haven to Berthon here. This feels a lot more commercial and obviously very much bigger.
Yeah, we've got a fully encompassing operation here. We've got a marina, 280 berth marina, and we service all the needs of our clients, not just there, but also, as you can see, in our large factories and sheds here. We've got 100 people working on the shop floor, and we provide services with all the trades. We don't use any contract staff. They're all our own people. So we've got marine engineers, we've got shipwrights, we've got joiners, yacht sprayers, riggers, marine electronics, electricians. So we are a one-stop shop. We can provide all the services for all our clients' needs.
I mean, just looking here of where we are in the main, what would you call this? The main hangar, the main workshop?
This is called M Shed. So this is our main factory. This was a modern building built in. We moved in here in early 2000, and this is our main factory where we've got all our workshops offset to the building to make everything really efficient, so we can get the guys from the workshops onto the boats in a really good, timely fashion.
I mean, I can, just looking here in M Shed, I can see everything from modern day technology. You look like we're rebuilding the lifeboats for the RNLI down there, but then in the corner we've got something that's really quite classic.
Yeah, we've got a large contract with the R&L. We're currently building Shannon-class lifeboats for them. The run of those builds is going to end later on this year. But as you can see, we've also got a 1925 built West Solent design yacht in the corner there, which was designed and built originally at Berthon by our current owner's great-grandfather. And we've brought this boat in as a training tool for our apprentices so we can teach traditional skills but using modern techniques. It's vital for us that our youngsters coming through our apprenticeship programme have got this essence of the traditional boat building, that we can retain those skills going forward.
Now, talking with the apprenticeship, you're an award-winning harbour here. You won an award for the apprenticeship scheme. Tell me about that.
Yep, we've won several awards for our apprenticeship programme, both locally and nationally. We've won the New Forest Business Partnerships Brilliance in Business Awards. We've won the National Apprenticeship Service Medium Business of the Year on 2 occasions, and also we've won Cementer's Best of Engineering Award in 2014 as well.
What can the apprenticeship, what can you offer here for these young students?
We can offer students a career, and it's a sustainable career as well. Apprenticeships are a great tool for getting young people into the world of work. And for me, as being an ex-apprentice myself, it's a no-brainer, because we're teaching people a skill not only for life, but also we're giving them a qualification with that as well. And the added benefit is, instead of a university debt, you're getting a wage as well.
Yeah. Well, they say boat building is dead, but that is not the case here.
Absolutely not. Another thing that we're involved in at the moment with another group of employers is we're building a new apprenticeship standard for boat building as part of the government's new reforms for trailblazers for apprenticeships. So no, it's absolutely not dead. We've got a thriving boat building industry on the south coast, and hopefully that's going to grow.
Well, I think we've only touched the surface of what goes on here. I mean, my eyes are boggled by just what we've seen. We need to come back. If you really don't mind, Keith, can we come back? Because I think we need to do a whole show here, because I think we've got loads more to see.
Absolutely, that's no problem at all. There's not just what we do, but there's the wider industry and engineering in general. We need more exposure in the media to push engineering apprenticeships. We've got a massive skills gap in this country. We still manufacture things, we still produce things, and we still got a huge service industry out there, and we need to get young people into our industry.
Keith Longham from Berthon, and if you'd like more information on their apprenticeship scheme, there's a link to their website on our programme page for today. That's bbc.co.uk/Solent.
The H2O Show
on BBC Radio Solent.
You're listening to H2O on BBC Radio Solent. I'm Shelley Jory-Leigh, and this week the show is being recorded in Lymington on a classic yacht called Bjoar. I am sat here drinking tea in the afternoon with my guests Andrew Pearson and Rupert Wagstaff. More from here in a moment, but first, Southampton Sailing Club have just completed a major renovation of their facilities. They now boast some of the most state-of-the-art changing rooms in the south. I couldn't resist, so I went for a look round, and my guide was the recently retired Rear Commodore House, Richard Green.
It's the junction of the Itchen and Southampton water. Those are the silos over there with the grain that comes in, and those are the car transporters there, and Queen Mary is on the other side.
I mean, the location is up for a sailing club. I don't think you could get any better.
No, it's brilliant. We really enjoy it, and we've got our own moorings out there as well. And it's really a fabulous site.
You've actually just put in some new flood defences?
Yes, we had a problem last year, at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, where water was coming in underneath the floor of the boathouse here. And we had to come up with a solution to stop that happening, because water was coming in and damaging the wall inside where the new toilets are. So we put this wall up, which stops the water coming into the foundations of the building. And also we've got flood defence doors on the garage door to the boathouse.
How many members?
About 150, 200. It varies from year to year, depending on who we manage to get in.
And what sort of events, or do you do competitions? Do they have sort of sailing competitions?
We're a member of SWASA, which is a local sailing association, and we have races with all the clubs around the area. We have our own regattas and our own trips where the cruisers go off and sail off for 2 or 3 days as a group. We also do a lot of dinghy racing. We are an RYA Centre of Excellence for training. We have the certification from the RYA.
Fantastic.
We do windsurfing and any water sport, really.
Yeah.
We're not restricted to just to sailing. We do any type of water sport. So this, in fact, is a public slipway, but we are sort of virtually in control of it. But generally, when we launch off here, but we also have those 2 piles out there where when the boats come in, the big boats, like the boats on the mooring tower, they go between the piles, and then we have a tractor with a machine on the back that picks the boat up and takes it up here into the compound.
What an excellent service.
I know. Sure.
Now, you spoke about the toilets
Yes.
earlier on and saying that the flood defences is to stop the water going into the new toilets. I hear they're something of a state-of-an-art.
Well, they are quite good. I think they're good anyway.
Can you show me?
Yes, I'll definitely show you, yes.
Let's go.
Follow me. Now here we've got the female, male and unisex toilet there, and that door is to the boathouse that you saw.
Yes, yeah.
So we'll first of all go into the ladies. Again, the lights will come on.
Ooh, it's lovely.
Now, in here is the female shower units, which are individual. Females prefer them individual shower units. When you go into a shower, you go under the shower unit and it comes on automatically. The other thing you probably just heard, the
Fans.
air condition comes on, and that again is on a sensor. So that little thing there is a sensor.
I can see there's no taps
No
or
taps.
anything. How do you turn it up or down for heat or
No,
cold?
it's all controlled.
Oh.
It's set at a certain temperature. When you do that, they automatically come on. And if you do it to that one there, you'll find how quickly the hot water comes on.
Oh, yeah.
And that is a constant.
Do you know, I have to say, I'm totally amazed. Standing from the outside of the building, you know, it doesn't look the smartest building on the street, does it? And you walk, as soon as you've walked in that metal door, everything is just beautifully decorated, clean, tidy, and in here it is an extremely modern bathroom. It's lovely.
Well, it's nearly just about the state of the art. All above this ceiling, which we've actually lowered, and it then gives us a better heat insulation. Above that ceiling are all big massive ducts and lots of wires, because all the heat and air in this place is circulated. Outside is a big plant room, a brand new plant room with lots of boilers and lots of apparatus in there. So the hot air comes in through. It is pumped out, then pumped out. The hot air taken out of the exhaust air, put back into the air coming in, so that we don't have cold air that's got to be heated completely.
Oh, wow.
So that saves us on energy as well. Underneath this floor is heating. So it's underfloor heated.
Oh, underfloor heating. So the tiles are always nice and warm and cosy. Oh.
And that means if you do get a splash of water in here, it dries up fairly quickly. So it's not a problem. The other thing is state-of-the-art. Do you want to put your hand in that?
Yeah. Good old hand dryer. That's going to dry your hands quick. Shall we have a look at the other bathroom?
Yep. This is the gents' toilets and changing area. It's a lot bigger than the females because at the moment we have a lot more male than female participants in the club. But again, similar principle. The shower units over there, which are open, and we've got one enclosed shower for children or whatever, and the hand basins have the taps the same.
no controls or anything on any of the equipment. Even the urinals are on a 15-minute cycle.
And here's those showers again,
These are the showers,
with
yes.
all the no switches. Thank you, Richard. It's been amazing, and I am truly amazed that from the outside of the building you come in and it is a different world in here, and the bathrooms are, well, the facilities are absolutely lovely. So thank you very, very much for giving me a tour.
It's my pleasure.
And now, if you two would like to just step outside, I'm just going to have a little go at these facilities, if you don't mind. Beautiful. Well, I had no snide comments from the boys, so I guess they did look away. And we've put a link to their website on our programme page for today. Well, back here in Lymington, a new foot passenger service will operate between the Isle of Wight and the mainland from August. Scoot Ferries is launching a service between Yarmouth and Lymington. The chief executive of Scoot Ferries is Zoe Ombler, and she told Louisa Hannon more about their plans.
So we've been working on Scoot Ferries in a number of guises for just coming up to a year. During that time, we've been working out what the best routes to launch first might be. And we're really delighted to announce that the 2 new routes starting from this August will be a fast shuttle service linking Cowes and East Cowes, and another service linking Yarmouth and Lymington Town Quay.
And you talk about the research you've done. How viable are these services going to be?
Well, we wouldn't have commissioned the number of boats that we have from South Boats had we not felt confident that there was a demand for that service.
So the initial capacity then for the ferries is only 12 passengers. To the untrained eye, that doesn't seem very many to me. Are you confident you're going to be able to cope with the demand?
Absolutely. Obviously, initially, no, you're quite right. With 2 12-boat boats in operation, we won't be able to please everybody from day one, and we don't expect that to be the case. But we already have a 50-passenger ferry in the pipeline that's going through MCA coding now, so that will join the service in October this year. And our 12-passenger ferry that will service the Yarmouth-Lymington route will be upgraded to 2 30-passenger ferries from early next year.
And you have other plans for April 2016, don't you, for elsewhere in the south?
Yeah, well, from 2016, we haven't announced when those 2 new routes will come into operation just yet. But yes, we hope to add 2 new services. One will be Cowes to Hamble and hopefully Warsash, and the second will be Cowes over to Portsmouth and hopefully Gosport.
How are you funded then at Scoot?
Privately funded, and our long-term plan is that this will ultimately become a community-run service. So we're certainly not intending that, in 5 years or however long it takes, that we'll be snapped up by somebody with very deep pockets and, looking to make a profit. We want this to become an island-run service, and, that's really, the primary focus for us, that this is a service that benefits island residents.
And initially then when you launch the service, so you're looking to create some jobs in the area?
We are, yeah. Obviously, initially, we'll be trying to run a lean operation. Every boat will have a captain and first mate on board, and there'll be obviously some admin staff to run the service. But we're trying to make the whole service run as efficiently as possible. So introducing contactless payment options, really trying to bring technology into play as much as possible. Certainly, yes, from an employment opportunity, South Boats, we've placed an order for 4 boats, so that will certainly keep them busy for the next couple of years. And then there will undoubtedly be additional employment opportunities with Scoot going forward.
And how much are the crossings?
Crossings between Lymington and Yarmouth are £9 each way. And then crossings between Cowes and East Cowes are £1 each way. There will be concessions for season ticket holders, seniors, children and students. And we're putting the finishing touches to those prices as we speak.
Zoe Ombler talking there to Louisa Hannon about the new Cross Solent ferry, which includes a service from here in Lymington. Rupert, it's not just the events on the water that you do here at Lymington Yacht Haven, is it? Apparently you do quite a lot on the land.
We do. We try and host as many events as we can. For example, last weekend we had 52 Ferraris all parked up, and they drove around Lymington and parked on the high street as part of a Piazza Italia event. And we have a lot of tenants and businesses that operate from the site who, and we see ourselves as really part of the community.
And do you do things for all ages, adults, children?
We're not so much dinghy orientated here, so it's the families. But we're very keen on promoting sort of cross-generation sailing. The grandparents with the parents, with the grandchildren, all on the same boat.
Well, it's been wonderful. Andrew Pearson, thank you so much for letting me use your Bjoar yacht for my office this afternoon. I'm sorry the show has come to an end and I've got to go. Rupert, thank you very much for telling us all about the Lymington Yacht Haven. It's been fantastic and it's been a real pleasure to be here this afternoon. Thank you to everyone for making this show possible. And if you miss any of our programmes, there are hundreds of clips from the show on our website to listen back to. Just go to bbc.co.uk/Solent. Next week, it's the opening event of the 35th America's Cup competition. The